morning, everybody. We'll begin today's session. The first question. What you're given here is a yellow rolled yellow paper cylinder that is rotating in clockwise direction at a constant rate of 1 revolution per 60 seconds. A pencil is touching the paper cylinder and is moving from point T1 to T2 in 10 seconds. It stops at T2 for 10 seconds, then moves to T3 in the next 40 seconds, which in this way it completes a total of 60 seconds. 10, 10 plus 10 plus 40. What will be the graph on the paper when it is unrolled? In this case, when I unroll the paper, the graph will actually look something like this. When this pencil is at T1 and it moves till the T2 position, which is somewhere here, from here for in 10 seconds, then from here it's staying stagnant at T2, which means a horizontal line will be generated. This will be almost 45-degree angle with the horizontal. A horizontal line will be generated, and then फिर यहाँ से it reaches here, here, in the next 40 seconds, which means that this angle will be relatively steeper compared to how I started here. It will be a straight line though. It won't be a curved line, definitely. So here B is wrong, D and C all are wrong, and A is the one which will be chosen because this figure looks exactly like it. When you're moving the cylinder and you're just moving the pencil, the cylinder is moving in circular motion in clockwise direction and your pencil is moving, the line that will be generated on the paper will be a straight line and not a curved line. An opaque circular disc is kept parallel to the tabletop. A beam of sunlight casts a shadow on the tabletop as shown in the figure. Which of the option represents the shape of the shadow as seen on the top view of the table? We have to find what kind of shadow will be seen on this surface, tabletop. It is given to us that this shape is actually parallel to the tabletop surface. Also, the angle of the sunlight is, if you look at the angle, it's almost 45-degree angle. Sunlight being, it means parallel rays of light are falling. In this case, with 45-degree angle and parallel rays of sunlight which are falling on the table, the object will look exactly how it is, which is a circle. And the shadow cast on the tabletop will be that of a circle, a perfect circle, because the sunlight is falling at 45-degree with parallel rays. We don't have any distortion also happening because of point source light. So C is the one which will be correct. Three options are made up of same set of pieces without flipping. Which of the option is not possible? In this case, if you observe the shapes very carefully, they are made up of different smaller shapes: square, bigger triangle, smaller triangle, rhombus, and a medium-sized triangle. These shapes are a part of a tangram puzzle. This is a Chinese puzzle, which is called a tangram puzzle. Now, in this tangram puzzle, because flipping is not possible, when I look at all the individual shapes together, rhombus is the only one. Just go when you flip it, it looks something. It becomes a shape like this. When you flip this shape, it looks like this, which is a different shape altogether. A triangle, a square will look exactly how they are, which is symmetrical. So in this case, all I have to do is look at the rhombus. With case of B, when I rotate the rhombus like this, it will look exactly how it is without any kind of changes. So in this case, like I said earlier, the rhombus is the only shape. So in case of B, when I rotate the shape like this, it looks like this. In case of C also, when I rotate it like this, it looks exactly how A or B will become. And in case of option D, it is the only one where that flipping is done. This flipping is happening. So henceforth, in this case, D is the one where flipping is done, and D is the one which is not possible in the tangram puzzle, and A, B, and C are made up of the same set of pieces. So D is the one which is correct. Okay. Here, you're given a version of chess. No piece can capture another piece. We are not interested in capturing the pawns that are given here at different locations. In the scenario shown in the figure on the left, the knight is on a mission to reach the diagonally opposite square, which is marked X. We have to make the knight reach here, is what our mission is. Assuming that no other pieces moves, what is the minimum number of moves it will take for the knight to reach there? In chess, the knight can move as shown in this figure. It can jump over, but it cannot land on a square with pawn. We have to avoid the squares marked with pawn as quickly as possible. We cannot land on the pawn easily. So in this case, we'll just trace the movement of the knight. So this is the first place where the knight will move. From this position, the knight will come here in the second position. From this position, the knight will land here in the third position. From this position, the knight will land here in the fourth place. From this position, it will land here in the fifth place. And like I said, this is the final sixth move where the knight will reach the cross. And henceforth, the moves is 6. And the correct answer is option B. Any doubts, any questions? Okay. Which of the visual element is or are a part of the design shown below? In this case, the elements are rotated and they can be scaled also. So in this case, well, let's just trace which element is there. It's not there. So option A is located here. This is where option A is located. So, or here, both is fine. So A is there. C वाला जो आपका part है, C is actually located here. So C is there. B वाला जो part है, B is located here, which is or can also be here. So B is also there, and D वाला जो आपका part है, that is located here. So D is also there. So in this case, all A, B, and C and D are a part of this element of this larger picture. All elements are a part of the larger picture. A 10 centimeter tall card with some cutouts is placed on a long table in front of a lamp in a dark room. The lamp is 15 centimeter tall and is placed 15 centimeter away. It's 15 centimeter tall and it is placed 15 centimeters away in front of the card. Which of the options shows the correct position of the shadow casted? In this case, what I will first ask myself is which shape will have the maximum distortion. In this case, because it's a light point source, the shadow of the shape will be most distorted, which is closer to the light source but away from the ground. Triangle is the one which is away from which has a maximum distance from the ground, and henceforth it will have the maximum distortion, and circle will have the minimum distortion. This will have a medium normal in between distortion. In all the, when I compare all the options together, circle having minimum distortion, it will look kind of a circle, but it may be little bit distorted. It is seen between B and C. A में वो longitudinally distorted है, B में वो horizontally distorted है. So A and D are wrong. Between B and C, when I compare B and C together, the star is the one which is different. B का जो star है, it looks exactly like how the cutout happens, but it will undergo distortion. So B is wrong and C is the one which will be chosen. Which is odd one out. In all the figures, there's a rule that is getting followed in 3 options, versus the rule is not getting followed in 1 of the option. We have to find which is the odd one out. When I compare all the options together, there's one thing which is seen very differently, which is seen rather constant, is this part. There is one circle which will have all the shapes overlapping each other. In one dot, all the shapes are overlapping, which is happening in all the 4 cases. And if I look at all the other shapes, 1, 2, 3, and 4, this is a part of a triangle, this is a part of the ellipsoid, ellipse, this is a part of this circle, and this is a part of this rectangle only. All the other 4 shapes are part of one shape only. With case of C, that is getting satisfied here. With case of D also, that is getting satisfied. But in case of B, this is one circle which denies that, because this dot is getting overlapped with the circle as well as the rectangle. So B is the one which does not follow that rule and which is the odd one out. Identify the correct set of legs for Mr. Kumar to balance his body as he carries the heavy boxes. Which is a correct set of legs for this person to balance his body to carry the weight. Now, in this case, option A would be possible if this person was sitting on some kind of a stool. In that case, option A is possible where he's trying to put load on his upper half, and he's trying to sit somewhere. With case of option B, if this is the case and he's moving forward and the box is here, this is where the box is happening, this person would fall off in the front. With case of option B, if this was the case and the box is kind of happening here, C is kind of balanced because his lower body and the legs are kind of aligned with each other. So C is easily possible, B is wrong. And D is the one जहाँ पे वो position ऐसा होता. This is the box. जहाँ पे आपका load ज़्यादा यहाँ पे आता, which means the person has a possibility to topple down on back side. So D is also wrong and C is the one which would be the correct one. Shown below is a paint splatter on a wall surface. A paint squeegee is pulled over it. Which of the option correctly represents the part of the patterns formed? This is a squeegee, this is a splatter. In this case, when I just draw the outline or try to locate which dots will be responsible for the splatter, what I will find is the splatter will start from here or ye wala part, like this. Which means ye itna part will be one big bloat and then there will be 2 strips happening on the left side. A mein there are 3 strips happening on the left side, so A is wrong. Between B, C and D, the only distinguishing factor is the spacing. Baki yahan pe 5 strips hai, yahan pe bhi 5 strips hai, yahan pe bhi 5 strips hai, and in the option also we get 5 strips only. So I'm more interested in finding the spacing. Now when I try locating or outlining the strips, ये वाला कम स्पेसिंग होगा. ऑप्शन सी में ये स्पेसिंग ज्यादा है, so C will be wrong. Between B and D, D is uniformly located versus B में ये spacing ज्यादा है. Now this point is located here between these 2 parts. यहाँ पे naturally the spacing is less. It's not how it's shown in B, so B is wrong and D is the one which is more uniformly spaced will be chosen. A giant creature is walking towards a group of buildings in the city, which is a correct perspective from the creature's point of view. In this case, now if I draw the eye level of the creature, it will come somewhere here. This eye level is actually aligned with the top of this gray building, which is bigger. What it means is what it means is the tallest building and the eye level creature will be aligned. तो आपका जो top view है इसका बड़े वाले view का वो ऐसा दिखेगा जो C और D में दिख रहा है. A और B are eliminated. We don't see the top part of that tall building because the eye level and the height of the building are aligned. So I have eliminated A and B. Between C and D, when I compare together, this is what is different. एक D के केस में the yellow building is ahead of the blue building और C के केस में they are kind of aligned together. It is, if I look at the question figure and this part, yellow building and blue building are kind of aligned, but yellow building is little bit ahead compared to the blue building, which is how it is shown in option C, and D will be eliminated. Therefore, C will be the correct answer. Which of the option will replace the question mark? So in this case, what we are also seeing is we are seeing that the object is rotating. The object is rotating, sorry, in this direction. ये फर्दर ऐसे रोटेट हुआ, ये फर्दर ऐसे रोटेट हुआ, ये फर्दर ऐसे रोटेट होगा. सो बी, सी और डी तीनों पॉसिबल है. ए वाला जो पोजीशन है आपका, इट्स अ मोर स्क्यूड रोटेशन. ये इसका ऑलमोस्ट 90 डिग्री रोटेशन है. ये वाले फिगर का ये वाले फिगर का 180 डिग्री रोटेशन है, which is not possible. Between B, C and D, C and D are very similar. B is little bit different, but it's little bit confusing for us. So what we'll do is we'll locate the dots. We'll start with the green dot. ये ग्रीन डॉट यहाँ पे है. सेकेंड फिगर, दिस इज थर्ड एंड दिस इज फोर्थ. थर्ड सेकेंड फिगर में वो डॉट का पोजीशन यहाँ पे आ जाता है. थर्ड फिगर में ये यहाँ पे आ जाता है. फोर्थ फिगर में यहाँ पे आ जाता है, which means in the fifth position it has to be here, which is the question mark. So the green dot has to come here in the fifth position, which is seen in option B and it's also seen in option D. So C, ये वाला eliminate हो जाता है. Between B and D, the pink dot is different. For the pink dot, we'll again locate the position. Pink वाला second में यहाँ पे आ जाता है. Third position में pink वाला यहाँ पे आ जाता है. Fourth में pink वाला जो आपका dot है वो यहाँ पे आ जाता है. Which means in the fifth position it has to be here. Henceforth, D is eliminated and B is the one which will be correct. Identify the correct representation of lighting for this scene given the lighting strike is the only source. Lighting strike is the only source. When you compare the options put together, A and D में आपके आगे वाले जो building है ये वाले, they are dark, versus C or B में they are lit up. If lighting is the only source, ये दोनों lit up नहीं होते, which means B or C has to be eliminated because they are lit up here, which means there's another light source happening in the front in B and C. Versus हमको दिया है कि lighting is the only light source. Lighting strike is the only light source. Next, I will look at it. If you just look at this profile, and if you just compare that profile and the lighting position, ये bolt यहाँ पे गिर रहा है. And if I just look at that lighting strike here and look at that same profile, what it means is that lighting's position in D is falling between this profile and this profile. Versus in A, it is happening between this and this profile. That's why this is lit. The position of the bolt इसमें बराबर है. D में अगर आपको आगे वाला part नहीं दिखता bolt का, तो D का सही होता. But in this case, we are seeing the front part of the D, which is between front part of the bolt, which is between these two profiles. Henceforth, D will also be eliminated and A is the one which will be chosen. Which of the given option matches the patterns 1, 2, 3, 4 with tiles PQRS correctly? In this case, this can be a little bit tedious or longer, provided you go on checking with each and every tile and the pattern. So what we'll do is we'll look at the options directly. In this case, when I compare the options, one is either S, R or Q. S, R or Q is the one. So S ये है, R ये है और Q ये है. When I just try to trace one में क्या fit हो रहा है, the L is coming here. Along that L, another L is coming here, like this, which is the case how it is seen in R. So one has to be with R. So A and C are eliminated. Between B and D, where R1 is with R, Q, 2 with Q and 2 is with S. 2 is either with Q or S. 2 is either with Q or, sorry, S. So I will just trace के 2 किसके साथ है? S के साथ. S, is it traced in S or is it traced in Q? So Q और S में when I compare it together, ये वाला 2 है. This is the S वाला part which is coming here और एक part यहाँ पे ऐसे आता. If you want to still look at it differently, you can have it again here. If you want to look at the whole figure, it will happen here. यहाँ पे ऐसे और ऐसे. So 2 is located with S, which is correct, and B is wrong. So D is your correct answer. In these kind of questions, it makes little bit easier if you just compare the options. If you just compare the options correctly. You just compare the options correctly, okay? Which of the options correctly shows the silhouettes of the given image? This is the image. आपको उसका silhouette ढूंढना है. In this case also, what we will do is we will compare the options together like we did earlier. When I compare the options together and I just try to locate the white space, ये वाला, ये वाला, ये वाला और ये वाला. C का white space is little bit different. That white space is here, it's located here, so C is wrong because वो बहुत कम white space दिख रहा है. A, B और D का position is fine. Between A, B and D, another white space which is located here is different. This white space is where this is located. So B and D are fine and A is eliminated. Between B and D, another white space which I can compare, which is different between B and D is here. जहाँ पे एक में हाथ दिख रहा है और एक में नहीं दिख रहा है. In the question figure, this is happening here. जहाँ पे आपको हाथ दिखेगा. So B is correct and D is the one which will be eliminated. Yeah. Assume that the English alphabets are redesigned and the new alphabet had alternating uppercase and lowercase characters. The alphabet starts with uppercase A and so on. And all the upper cases were rotated clockwise and lower cases are rotated anti-clockwise. In this case, in order to make your life easier, when you compare the options may H, L and P are in lower case versus E is in uppercase. Now E has to be in uppercase because E is the odd numbered letter. That's why E has to be uppercase. So B आपका automatically यहाँ से eliminate हो जाता है. Between A, C and D, what is happening is if H, L and P are in lowercase, they will have to be located. Will have to be rotated anti-clockwise. Versus ये clockwise rotation होगा. E is like this. Uska clockwise rotation will look something like this. Which means C is wrong, जहाँ पे ये position गलत है. Likewise, H, N, L, P have to be rotated. All three have to be rotated anti-clockwise. In case of D, ये दोनों clockwise है और ये anti-clockwise है. So D is also wrong and A is the one which will be chosen. The image in the box on the left hand side shows the open and closed positions for a metal stand. The other two positions show the various joints in the stands. If a fixed joint is denoted by F and a hinge joint by H, which option is correct? In this case, this metal stand में ये वाला जो member है, it comes in the front and it aligns with the other two metals. Which means आपका ये वाला जो part है will be movable and these 2 points have to be fixed. When I go view by view in PQRS, P and R का position change नहीं हो रहा है, वो member are staying as it is. So P will be a fixed, R will also be a fixed one, and Q का position move हो रहा है, therefore be a hinged. In the next part here, S has to be fixed. Like I said earlier, ये move नहीं हो रहा है, ये part move नहीं हो रहा है. And TU we are changing because ये वाला member का position आगे आ रहा है. So TU and V all has to be flexible. So V will be hinged, U will be hinged, and T will also be hinged. The case where all this is happening is option D, which will be chosen. Thank you so much. We'll end today's session with this. Okay.